Hey guys, welcome back to another Cryptonairz AMA. We're here with Aleph Finance. We wanted to sit down with these guys and have a conversation to better understand the project. I'm here with Johnny, my co-host, my main man. Why don't you guys do a little introduction of who you are? If you want to start with left to right, or I don't know, whoever wants to go first, but maybe who you are and what you do for the project.
Adam, you want to start?
Adam or Son or anybody can start. Go for it, guys.
I don't think your mic's working.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. The unmute button was being difficult on me. So, 36 years old, living in Tel Aviv, 3 kids, 17 years as a tech entrepreneur, last 10 years, did a lot of things, started a lot of companies. Past 10 years, I have a software development agency, been involved in a few startups in the past year or so in the crypto space, as a builder for the past 6+ months. Met Sangad and the guys through mutual friends, and looked at all that's happening in the ecosystem, both of nodes and rebase tokens and everything, and all of us together thought about great ideas on how to improve and bring utility to this market that's dying for such a utility. That's my cut to the chase story.
Thank you, Adam. All right, Sav, you want to go next, and then we'll get Sangad after?
Sure. Hey guys, I run marketing for Aleph. Got about 5+ years in digital marketing, scaling specifically digital first companies from media properties to e-commerce properties. Extensive background doing paid marketing across all social channels, organic, email, SMS, SEO, you kind of name it, I have experience in. So yeah, super excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity.
Great, man. Son, what you got, brother?
Yo, I'm Son. Spent probably the last 2 years in crypto, being an advisor at multiple projects. Spent the last decade and still in the music and entertainment industry, running a business as an engineer and music producer. Met Adam through a mutual friend. Kind of saw like a second wave of people chasing passive income. Knew the power of like residuals just from being in the music industry and intellectual property. So I wanted to get into something like that for crypto, and here we are.
Beautiful, man. For the people at home that have no idea what your project's about, why don't you guys give us maybe just like the 30,000 foot overview of what the project is and what you guys are trying to achieve with the project?
Sure. So we pretty much all know about the node ecosystem. So we are the same ecosystem, but we're evolving past what's been happening in the past, 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
When we started the project, in this ecosystem, we were looking at all the issues that most of the projects have, where there's lack of utility, and from the investor's point of view, there's sometimes misalignment between the protocol growth and the investors. So we added functionality and features around that. Number one is our capabilities of locking and auto compounding, benefiting users to increase their returns over time, versus what's happening in most protocols where sales tax is a way to alienate the investors from growth over time. And the other issue is that most of these projects don't have a very utilized treasury because it's mostly composed of the native token. What we're doing is allowing people to buy their nodes using USDC, basically a stable coin. And we have a lever where we can play with how much is that used for buying the native token versus remaining in the stable coin and enriching the treasury. This way, the treasury doesn't create sell pressure when it wants to be utilized. Those core functionality around auto compounding, locking, and a much more utilized treasury, those were the core principles. We didn't want to overcomplicate things. We knew we have a lot of ideas, like a notebook of thousands of ideas on how to improve things, but we didn't want to confuse the investors from the get-go. And these were the core ones we decided on.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much next to launch, we're launching as well our Aleph tracker, which is the next generation wallet tracker and portfolio tracker. that not only will provide you with everything you're used to from DBank, Dapper, etc., but also will show you your nodes, your yield around them, and any other passive income investment that you have. We're planning for it very exciting premium features as well. So it will be a revenue stream as well, and not just a wallet tracker. And we are planning pretty much post-launch a lot of things to expand, not things that are like 6 months from now we'll do this and that, but basically from the get-go, we're planning on huge expansion. We're trying to find a balance between keeping things that are we're not easily copyable, but we are sharing with our community the steps forward. The main angle that we're looking at that's interesting for us is the traditional finance angle.
Yeah,
because,
TradFi.
Basically, we all in the crypto space feel like it's a sort of a bubble, but if you Google passive income, you will see thousands upon thousands of articles on how you can generate income in passive income, but you won't see the word crypto in those articles. You'll see rentals, you'll see all kinds of things. And what we want to do is target this market, this huge untapped market, and provide for him a passive, stable farming yield, and enjoy the spread to the node holders, where we see over time not just providing reward in the native token, but a mix of native token and stablecoin or other assets that both the treasury and the traditional finance crowd will provide using that spread over time, so the native token doesn't have the same issues of sell pressure that people just sell their token. We have, again, a lot of more plans, but that's the core of it.
Yeah, can you walk us through a little bit more of like how you guys are going to be, investing funds and I mean, TradFi, are you guys, I know a lot of other projects invest in other node projects, validator nodes, or different things. Like, how are you guys going to be different? How are you guys going to be sustainable? How are you guys going to be able to create revenue to stay afloat?
Okay, so sustainability is a big word. Let's decompose it for a second. It starts off from how people, the community investors, look at the protocol. Is it a high APY pump and dump, or is it more long-term yield generation stability factor? So we're cultivating from number one, from the moment you hit our Discord, our community think about long-term sustainability growth. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned, the features that we picked, the auto compounding, the locking, and the treasury utilization provide a lot more sustainability because our treasury a lot faster can create yield for our investors versus whoever has a node project right now is just sitting on the native token and can't really move it unless he creates sell pressure.
Yeah.
So that's number two. Number three, we're looking at revenue channels from the get-go. So we're not like dependent only on new buyers of nodes coming in. With our Aleph tracker, which is a product that anyone in this ecosystem needs and wants and suffering because he doesn't have it, is going to enjoy this and much more that we have planned out, and this revenue trickles down to our investors as well. So those are the core things. Now jumping to traditional finance, because that's a big ball, but that ball basically, if I'm simplifying things, imagine we have $10 million of traditional finance investors that we were able to tap in, whether it's retail traditional investors or small businesses, etc. And those people are guaranteed 5 to 10% stable yearly return. For them, it's like magical, right? For us in crypto, it's like a non-story. And we know that the spread that we can get, let's say between 15 to 20% in a very conservative investment strategy, that creates a spread of between 5 to 10%. So 5 to 10% on 10 million, that's 1 million, give or take, a year that can be funneled back to the node holders, regardless of new buyers coming in, our treasury yield strategies, and all the other revenue streams.
Awesome. So let me ask a quick question. So these node tracker, or this thing where you're going to be able to look at other nodes and stuff like that, is that going to be a free service given to people that are have nodes, or is that something that we're going to have to pay for monthly? Can you just walk us through that really quickly?
Sure. So it's going to be a free version for 80% of the core functionality,
okay,
and 20% premium discounted for Aleph node holders. So we are providing additional value to whoever is holding the nodes. You will have a discount for premium features, but even if you're not related to Aleph, you still want to use the product, you can use 80% of the functionality just like a premium for free, and 20% for the more exciting stuff with a premium service.
Okay, awesome. And I guess that's a way of generating a little bit of revenue. Let me turn it over to Johnny, because I know he's got some great questions, and I know you guys kind of have a time restraint here, and so I really want to get him some time to ask any kind of questions he has. So go for it, Johnny. Hey guys, Crypto Sensei here. If you like what you're watching on this video, think about signing up for Cryptonairz. We've built out a 37-person team to work on Cryptonairz that provides every kind of info that you want to know. We have a great community of over 2,300 people that also help providing information. If you don't have 12 hours a day to commit to crypto research and knowledge, let us do most of the work for you. That's why we're here. We're one of the very few communities that have a full service security team. Every new project that wants to come work with us to do an AMA, we put them through a very strict process, and you can learn more about that in our community. We have people that understand smart contracts, that can find, malicious code or errors. And so, often we're helping these teams kind of fix their projects before they launch. And so that really gives us the power to know which new projects are going to be solid and which ones might not be. And so we provide all of this information and all this content to our community. We have some of the most amazing members, and we have a really solid team. So if you're interested in maybe joining, come over to cryptonairz.com, sign up today. Look forward to seeing you out there in the Discord and chatting with you and growing with you, and look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Sure. Hey fellas, I've been following your project for a long time, since basically you guys started. And I think something that's happened, especially over the last month I've witnessed, is that it seems like somebody just popped the node balloon. It seems like at this point, nobody in DeFi cares about NAS anymore. And a lot of protocols that I think would have worked really well 2 months ago, if you put them out today, you're going to have difficulty getting anyone to buy it. How are you all feeling about the NAS space right now? I'm sure this is a concern for you as you get closer to launch. Like, what are your plans to combat kind of this movement away from nodes?
So to me, there's always an upside. That's how I live my life. And to me, that even if the market is more down, not just the nodes in general, we're in a crab market for the past 4 months. Everybody's feeling it, even the blue chips. So for me, the upside for this is slower growth. One of the issues with overhyped market, overhyped growth, it goes up very fast and then goes down equally as fast. This provides us time to have a more controlled and steady growth with a very tight community that looks at things for long term and not just short term. That's very important for us as well. And from the get-go, when we were thinking about the protocol, we weren't like, this is a NAS. We were thinking about how do we tap into the passive income ecosystem, because it doesn't matter if it's nodes, rebase token, or whatever. Everybody are looking for a passive income. It doesn't really matter how you wrap it. And this mentality will not change in 1,000 years, because there are traders, people are searching for opportunities, and there are people that don't have the time or attention for that and would just like something to consider as a good passive income play. And for us, we don't see any issue with this. All of us are committed long-term. All of the team have vested tokens for 9 months. So it's a long-term play for us and not just a get-rich-quick scheme.
Good to hear, man. I like the team having tokens vested over a long period. I reread your white paper a couple days ago, and I noticed that a lot of the things that some of the other companies were doing are in their like RPC endpoints for nodes, and purchasing validator nodes possibly as a way to bring income in. We've seen so many different projects do those at this point, and none of them have really resulted in success. Do you guys feel that RPC endpoints are still worth it at this point right now? I mean, I don't know what it costs you to set it up on ChainStack or whatever, but I don't think anyone uses the endpoints, and I don't know if it's a feature that most people care about. And then validator nodes, you know, you lock up a ton of funds and you'll get 10% or 6%, depending on what the node is. Are those still strategies you're going to pursue, or are you going to kind of alter those because of the differences in the space now?
So to me, it's a question about best treasury utilization, bottom line. Like, we have treasury, how best we utilize it with playing risk versus reward. Luckily, we have one of the most brilliant treasury manager out there. His name is Franklin. He does policy and treasury management in a couple of projects, and he's very committed. To us, RPC and validator nodes, they have their place in the world, in the ecosystem. Without them, there's no blockchain, honestly. But we think that there's potentially a lot more yield possible to the investors without taking higher risk. So I'm not putting the cap on it, but there's probably a better yield strategy than validator nodes or RPC nodes at this point.
Yeah, that would have been my exact feeling on it as well. I'd assumed that you guys would probably alter your strategy, but I didn't know if it was still what you were going to pursue. So let me ask you a little bit about your wallet tracker. I've seen some screenshots. It looks really cool, man. When are you guys expecting that to be ready?
So this is planned out pretty much next to launch, give or take, not like a month after. We want this to be close to launch so people get it very tied to buying the nodes as well, and not just have it completely unrelated. We look at everything that we're doing as something that's part of the Aleph umbrella. So any product, and we have additional products planned out, needs to be related to it. So we decided to keep it pretty much close to launch.
I like that. So a lot of people, for instance, who use DBank, I know myself recently, I was ticked because essentially you can't revoke permissions on there anymore, which was like a big feature. Are features like that going to be included in your wallet tracker? And are they going to be part of the normal access, or is that premium access that someone would have to pay for?
No, I think revoking access is something very elementary that everybody wants. It might not be on the V1 that we're releasing next to launch, but pretty much right after. Revoking is something very basic that I think any wallet tracker should have. So yeah, it's in the works as well.
Excellent, man. For anybody that doesn't know, can you lay out your tokenomics structure, like how many tokens you need for a node, or how much the daily reward percent is, just so anyone that's listening who might not be familiar with your project can have a rundown of what the current one is?
Great question.
Sure. So the main mechanics is you buy a node at the moment with 10 of the native tokens that are translated to USDC. So imagine our launch price is 50 USDC. So that's 500 USDC for a node until the price goes up. Basically, you're paying with USDC 500, and we're converting this to Aleph, the native token, and the USDC part. At launch, we're planning for a 50-50 split. So 200 in this example, 250 USDC and 5 native Aleph tokens as well. The Aleph tokens go to the reward pool just like you use to any project. We're not going to sell those. We're not going to do anything around it. And the remaining USDC mostly going to the treasury, basically for utilization. So there's no sell pressure from the native token. Then treasury investments, just as you imagine, and the basic yield is 0.1 of the native token every day, where we have boosts depending on how much you lock up your node. You can lock your node for 40 days, 28 days, and 56 days if you go Aleph mode, which is basically locking all your nodes for 56 days. The top is 15% boost on the 0.1. The bottom is 5%. And you also going to have the possibility of buying limited NFTs that will boost your entire wallet nodes as well. We're starting our auction estimated this Monday, tomorrow, to plan to start selling our different tiers of NFTs. And these will go all the way to the launch. There's going to be a total of 100 of, and how much, Sangad, NFTs?
It'll be about 140. There's only 10. There's only 10 of the 30% boosts, and there's only 20 of the 15% boosts, and the rest are only 5% boosts.
Can I ask a question though, guys? Like, you know, when you guys create these NFTs that boost rewards, all it does is increases more kind of, you know, selling pressure, right? So what was the idea behind the NFTs, and what are you guys going to be using the money for? Is that for liquidity for the launch, or you know, what was the idea behind adding those NFTs?
So starting off our protocol, the 0.1, even with boosted with 30%, is pretty much lower than 99% of the node tokens reward plan out there. So we were starting conservatively as well.
Okay.
Other than that, there are people that are larger investors that are looking to invest more and get more into the game, and we wanted a way for them to enjoy this as well. So this is why there's the option of buying higher tier NFT. It also adds additional flavors to the protocol, so it's less. One of the issues with Strong, just as an example, not dissing Strong, is there's lack of ingenuity and vision and creativity, and we wanted to add layers on top of that as well. And this is where the NFTs come in. There might be additional types of NFTs in the future, but those are the core ones that we saw strong demand from our community as well, and not just coming from us. So that's the core of why we added them. And of course, these funds will go with the pre-sale raised capital as well to support the liquidity and any expenses that's required to have a smooth and long-term launch and product that we have a strong and big team around it that can support it for a long time.
Are you guys going to put a max supply on nodes like most of these other projects are doing, and trying to find other ways of adding revenue? Or are you guys, is there no kind of plans for that kind of stuff?
There's no plans yet for capping at the moment. We are always looking at the market and seeing what's happening, but basically no defined plans for it yet.
Gotcha. Hey, sorry, Johnny, I kind of cut into your questions, brother. You got any more, bro?
No, feel free. You were doing great. One thing along that line, I've noticed that there's been a lot of discussion in these projects about how to get holders to reinvest after they've, taken out a certain amount of percentage above ROI, right? Capping nodes often I've noticed won't work because then you have no income coming in, and also then you run into the difficulty where there's nothing to put into your rewards pool. Have you all thought about doing something like a percentage return? So maybe, let's say, after 300 to 400% somewhere in there, someone has to reinvest another 10 tokens to refresh their node and kind of keep investors from basically permanently profiting off something without ever having to reinvest again, and draining all the liquidity out of the project without kind of keeping pace with new investors.
Yeah, tapering's definitely something we're thinking about already.
Yeah, because if you look,
it's not.
I'm sorry, go for it.
It's not something yet set in stone, but we're looking at different ways of how to balance between people that generated a high return on investment, especially for short term, versus people just coming in. For us, the crypto space, is highly not personalized, which is like a problem. If you compare Web 2 to Web 3, Web 2 has really matured in terms of like how you get specialized offers, everything is more contextualized, where in crypto, there's the benefit of privacy, but there's no personalization or contextualization too much. So whether it's by how do we balance out returning the ROI as much as possible to the investors, versus people that are just joining in and hurting more versus people that have picked from the start. We are looking at all the different options. And one of the things that, again, is pretty much lacking in this ecosystem is group play versus against person versus person. We want to incentivize the group play and help it grow and make sure that as much as possible, everybody enjoy the yield and not just a select group of people.
Yeah, I'm looking, so, this is all we do all day long is look at projects and how they're doing afterwards and stuff like that. And I really must say, Horde has done an amazing job about keeping a very stable price level because they have that, decay model after, 300%. You have to, your plot or your node dies, and then you have to re-up. I think that's a fantastic idea to keep not just your people that love your project, but also, new people coming in. There's actually, incentives there and different things. So, I definitely, I think a DK model is really one of the strongest things that you can add to a project. But I'm sure you guys having those conversations behind the scenes. I know you guys have some pretty cool like auto compounding features with nodes and stuff like that. You guys have some different modes and things like that. Can you walk us through kind of what those look like? I know you guys touched on it just a bit, but can you touch on it a little bit more?
Sure. So the basic plan is you could just work with us just like any other project. You get your daily 0.1 reward, and that's it. That's the base layer. And then you can decide to lock whatever nodes you want, whether it's for 14 days, 28 days, or if you decide to lock your entire wallet or entire node for 56 days. So 14 days gets you another 5% boost. And then 28 days, how much is it at the moment, Sangad?
9%.
9%.
Yeah.
And then we have 15% for basically locking your entire nodes. Basically, if you have a very, very much high conviction and auto compounding play, you just lock up all your nodes for 56 days. If you want more choice, then we're okay with it as well. And this ties into decreasing sell tax as well. So if you're just selling nonstop, then you're going to have a higher sell tax, but it will decrease slowly up to zero if you wait longer. So we see the balance between a sell tax that's slowly decreasing and incentivizing people for longer lockups. The lockups are not just a way for us to incentivize people for long-term holding, but also it creates for us a visibility layer that no other protocols have, because we know when tokens get unlocked and we can handle it or we can prepare for it. So imagine we know 70% of tokens get unlocked in a week, simplified, yeah? We can prepare for it in different ways, which I can't dive into yet, but I'll just give one example. Remember the lever I mentioned between the USDC and the NLF token? So whenever someone is buying, we use 50% to buy the native token, 50% for the USDC. So when there's potential times of sell pressure, we can change the lever so it's potentially 100% buying the native token. So if we know 24 hours beforehand that there's potential sell pressure, we can change that lever so it combats sell pressure a lot better. As an example, this insight or intelligence is something that's very important for us, and we don't think another protocol has it.
All right. Before we I know we don't have a huge audience. Is there any questions from the audience? You guys have any questions for the team? And as far as the team goes, guys, is there anything maybe that we haven't covered that you felt is important? I know we kind of, maybe we'll do another AMA at another time where we have a little bit more time to dig into stuff. But is there anything else that we haven't gone over about the project that you think is very important that people should know?
Maybe touch on marketing just for a quick second.
Please, that's important.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something kind of lacking in this space. I think you see a lot of buy pressure in the first few days from projects, and after that they kind of fall apart because they don't have a way of attracting new investors. And one of the reasons is because a lot of people's marketing strategy currently is AMAs, giveaways, community nights. And ultimately, that's good if you're kind of staying in your echo chamber, like this node ecosystem, but you have to find a way to get outside of that and reach new people. Horde did a good job. I think it was Horde who did a bunch of YouTube ones. We're kind of looking at like all the different social channels that we can connect with people on to find new audiences. And I also think our tracker does a great job of introducing a new audience, because it's not just for people in the node space. We can attract them. Like there are other wallet trackers, but we can use our wallet tracker as like, using paid ads, for example, and kind of get them to use it just because of the UX UI design. And then from there, we kind of built out this funnel to kind of bring them to our passive income. And so having like these different products and these different levers that we can pull from a marketing angle gives us a chance to broaden our audience, where a lot of projects are kind of stuck in their audience that they've built up really through like whitelist invite challenges or giveaways. And that's like not a great way to build a project. It's why we decided to do it completely organic, pick people who we thought were really kind of like helping our community. And we've gotten a pretty big audience without doing a single giveaway or a single invite challenge. So that's kind of been one of the things I think we'll really tap into post-launch. And I think it can be a real differentiator for our project.
I think that's huge, man. I think you hit it right on the head there, because you're absolutely right. A lot of these projects just, launch and they pray and hope that, some of these influencers or shillers are going to help them. But you guys really have done a great job building just a community, not around giving away free stuff and actually getting people interested in the project. And I commend you guys for that. Is there anything else maybe that you want to hit on marketing, or anything else maybe that you guys have not touched on it yet?
Adam kind of alluded to this, but one of the big areas that we can really tap into for more of like a long-term sustainability play is SEO, which is essentially search engine optimization. And specifically around passive income and our TradFi angle, we want to build out a content strategy that will lead people to our website without having to pay for that traffic. And so one of that is like creating high quality content that we host on our website. And over time, we'll kind of be hopefully one of the #1 crypto projects promoting passive income. And we'll obviously have other keywords that we're ranking for. Because no other project, honestly, in this space is doing that, or even probably even thinking of that. And Google is the #1 source of traffic across the world. And so finding a way to tap into that outside of like your typical Twitter or Discord is going to be massive if you're going to be a real player within the crypto space in the next 3 to 5 years, not just the next 3 to 6 months. Like, we didn't start this project to be here in 3 to 6 months. Like, the goal is to be here for a very long time. And so we have to be doing things for marketing day one, but also be thinking about what is going to work 6 to 12 months from now.
No, I agree, man. Absolutely. Does the audience have any questions that they'd like to ask the team? Please raise your hand or forever hold your peace. Yeah, we don't have too many questions, guys. I mean, if there's anything else you'd like to add, I know, you guys wanted to do this about 35, 40 minutes. So anything else you'd like to add before we finish off today and get back to Easter?
I would just say that if anyone does have maybe no questions right now, but anyone listening, feel free to jump in our Discord. We obviously host AMAs, but our whole team is super active. So if you have any question, there's not a question we won't answer. You don't have to wait for an AMA. A lot of times we'll just jump in there and answer those questions. Our core team is trying to will be as transparent as possible, because it's important for every investor to get answers to questions that they have.
I think you're absolutely right, man. And that's the way to do it. Adam, Sav, SunGod, I really appreciate you guys' time today. Thank you so much. And it's going to be exciting to see what happens with the launch. When is the launch? Have you guys kind of set a time and date for that yet? Or are you guys just going to stealth it?
We're planning pretty much last week of April. That's the general plan. So roughly 2 weeks from now, give or take. And
I would just stealth drop that thing too, man. That way you don't. I mean, do you guys have some stuff for bots and things like that to kind of make sure that people don't get just creamed and things like that? I mean, I guess maybe that's my last question. Do you guys have anything in place to help with that?
Yeah. We all of us have ideas and general concepts on how to do it, and we already have a few levers in play to combat it as well. So yeah.
Great. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Happy Easter, and thank you guys for participating and watching. And if you need any more information, head over to the Aleph Discord or Twitter, and these guys will answer your questions. Very solid team. So I really appreciate you guys, and have a wonderful day. And I appreciate you, Johnny, spending this time with me today on Easter going through this.
Anytime. Have a great
Thanks for hosting us.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.